Welcome to Big Blend Radio's California Sequoia Country show, home to Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks, Giant Sequoia National Monument and Sequoia National Forest, and the charming historic agricultural communities that make up Tulare County. Welcome, everyone. You know, it is the dog days of summer, and we are going to California Sequoia Country as we do every first Thursday. And we are going to talk about the parks and the arts. After all, August is American Adventures Month, National Parks Month, and Family Fun Month. And I think that all goes together. A National Parks Month. I don't actually really know who started that, but I've seen it all over the internet. But what I do know is August 25th, 2016 is the day that our National Park Service actually came to fruition and being. So I think next year we're going to have like an awesome year, right? Like that's going to be a big one. So we've got two great guests here from the Sequoia Tourism Council. And by the way, go to discoverthesequoias.com for everything we're talking about. We have Suzanne Bianco here, and she is from Visit Visalia. Go to visitvisalia.com. Welcome back. How are you doing, Suzanne?
I'm doing great. Lisa, how are you doing today?
Doing good. Excited to talk about parks and the arts together because
Absolutely.
I think it takes in like the true American experience. And I know that Tulare County, all the different communities have public art, which is a great way to actually learn about these American communities. In fact, speaking of American adventures, isn't Porterville an American city, or is it the highway, the All-American Highway? I think it is the All-American Highway. Yeah. So that's cool. So we've got Holly Streit back here from Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks. If we're going to talk about the national parks, Holly must be here. And you can go to nps.gov/SEKI. That is always a website to go to before you go to a park, even the night before, the morning of, in case there's any kind of changes, road closures, anything can happen in the world. And, can learn more about park ranger activities and all those good things and about hiking and all those great things you want to see in the national park. So welcome back, Holly. How are you doing?
Thanks. I'm great. Happy to be here, Lisa.
Yeah. Hey, it is summer. So is it heating up in the park? The dog days of summer, I always think, you know what? You're a place to go for refuge because you got a lot of shade, but then there's a lot of parts of the park that you go, all right, maybe I should go back in the shade. We have to watch it.
Yeah, that's right. Definitely planning your locations based on the weather. It is nice to come up into the parks because if you go up to the forest, it's on average 20 degrees cooler in the Giant Forest than it is in the foothills.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that's pretty cool to know. Tips
Yeah,
on summer. Oh, yeah. There it is. You want to cool down? Go in the cave?
You want to cool down, go into the cave. It's like 50 degrees year round in that cave.
I'd like to go there now. It's hot where I am, and it's in the 90s right now. I'm like, and it's only the beginning of the day as we record this. I know what I'm in for. Little humidity too, but the cave. This is something exciting that we've talked about throughout the year because it's finally back open, right? So tell everybody about how they have to get tickets online first, right?
Yeah, definitely go cool off in the cave and see how wonderful it is. It's a marble cave. That's why it stays so cool, is it's marble and there's water that runs through it. But there are still tickets available midweek. Mostly the tickets are available, and it's only open until September 7th this year. So plan ahead, get those tickets online. You can't buy them in the park. You have to get your tickets online on the Sequoia Parks Conservancy website.
Okay. And as Sequoia Parks, is it sequoiaconservancy.org? I got it I'm off my head here a little bit. I'll get it for everyone. But again, if you go to discoverthesequoias.com, all the towns are linked from there, and as are the parks. And also Sequoia National Forest is out there to explore, and the Giant Sequoia National Monument. And even when you're in the national parks, you get to cross over boundaries. But I don't think we realize all of that when we're traveling through, right, Holly? We just kind of like, there's another tree over there. Let's go see it. Let's hug the tree.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, when you're driving up the General's Highway, you pass through a couple of different places, the forest, the monument, and 2 different parks.
See, there you go. So some tips though on safety. I wanted to touch on that because sometimes we, feel wild and free in our nature areas that, are protecting the wild and free. So we need to have some tips because we are seeing, it's obviously this year has been wildfires affecting our parks like the Grand Canyon, which has really been devastating. It is part of the cycle though, as we all know, but we need to be aware of what's going on and also have enough water and things like that. So some tips on summer safety. Is it safe to go in the water? that kind of thing in the parks?
Yeah. So first, I think the biggest safety tip is to make sure to plan ahead, check the weather, check the air quality, bring ways to cool down if you are in an exposed area, have lots of water, like a hat, a sun shirt, sun protection of any kind is really helpful. When it gets super hot, I like to have a little cooling towel as well that you can dip in the water and put around your neck. That's a great way to stay cool. And make sure that you're also eating enough so that you have enough calories while you're out there hiking and, higher levels of exertion. Get those electrolytes, all of those things to take.
You just told me to eat enough? Like, does that give me the like?
Yes, hiking.
So
is
I
the best
can
time
take
to
my
eat.
chocolate. I can take my chocolate.
Chocolate. Yes. It's a great trail snack. Yeah. I love peanut butter jellies. Anything to stay fueled and keep your body moving in a safe way.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, like a good one, is like the best thing on the planet. But I add pickles to mine, which grosses everybody out.
Yeah, that does sound gross.
Yeah. All right. Well, there it is. Everyone's got their good trail snack. What do you like, Suzanne, when you go on? What's your trail snack?
I do like a good mix of nuts, raisins, and M&Ms kind of a thing, like a good trail mix.
Well, I know you have a real hard time finding nuts in your area.
And I like it when they add a little butterscotch chips to the mix as well, or the little peanut butter chips, whatever. I like it.
So are we moving to Reese's peanut butter things? Peanut butter cups? But okay, talking about these. All right. So it's family adventures, and listen, I don't care what age, the majority of us in the world adore ice cream. And I'm thinking like post-park treat is ice cream, because you're not carrying that through the park. Can we get ice cream in the park? There's
some places that, like the Lodgepole Market, I think has some ice cream. I'm not sure if they have any. I think that's the only place I can think of in the park that has ice cream is the market.
And I remember getting a good IPA in the park. I'm serious. This is not.
Wuxachi Lodge. Yeah, Wuxachi Lodge
what...
probably has some ice cream. And
I think also it's not National Park, but the National Forest area at Hume Lake.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. The All Seasons Lodge. And there's water there too. That's the other thing we talk about, being cool. Got Hume Lake up there, but now can we get in the rivers? Because I know in spring you're always warning us, don't get in the river, but in summer, is that warning still there?
Yeah, I think the warning is basically always there, right? Like the Kauai River, the King River, they're all very fast moving. So it's very situation dependent. And we honestly don't really endorse going in any of the water in the park, but that's up to people to really make their own decisions and be safe. It's not like, we're not telling people that they're not allowed to go into the water, but it is something that people need to be really aware of. Even really experienced swimmers can get caught in the swift rivers. So I think there are some places that seem like they're okay, but I don't know. It's really up to everyone to be really vigilant about where they can and can't get into the water.
And what about hiking? Because sometimes we see people go off on their own on a solo hike, and some are very experienced. I had a friend who was doing the Arizona Trail, and I mean, he's walked the country, he's cycled the perimeter. I mean, he's just one of those who can do anything. Sadly, he's passed now. He's elder, and we knew exactly where he was going. In fact, took him to his trailhead and all of that. And sometimes when you're out there, unless you have a satellite phone, it's kind of hard. But when we didn't hear from Jim, like my little, back hairs in my head said, Lisa, something's wrong. And truly he did. He slipped and fell and like smashed his knee in, and he couldn't go further. And he was hobbling his way back to the trailhead. So luckily it was very close. But I feel like when people hike, even if it's in groups that maybe people should know, do they have to check in with you, or is that mostly when you go in the wilderness?
Yeah. So it's definitely a good idea to hike in a group. Like, even if accidents can happen to anyone, they can happen anytime. But if you're with a group, then someone is there to help you. As far as checking in with park rangers, you only need a permit if you're going out into the wilderness and staying overnight. So people definitely need to check in with a wilderness ranger for that. And that is kind of where people really need to be aware that if you're hiking out in the wilderness, even if you have a permit, our park is over 860,000 acres. So a lot of people that even do have some of those inReach devices or emergency devices, it still can take some time for a ranger to get to people when they're in that far of a remote location, right? Because people are coming out by foot. So someone might not be within a day's hike to that person. If the weather is bad, which is when accidents might be more likely to happen. If the weather is bad, the helicopter will take every safety precaution, and sometimes weather will prohibit people from getting out into the wilderness as well. So it's just really important I would say in the wilderness, it's really important to be in groups, make sure you're bringing your first aid kits, and just kind of being really safe and making safe decisions. I know, like you said, sometimes when we're in the wild, we feel wild and we want to try new things. And I'm the same way. I love it, exploring, especially our big granite parts of the park, but just making really safe decisions, safe judgment calls. If you're doing a water crossing, if you're kind of hiking a little bit off trail, just be really aware and make extra safe decisions while you're out there.
Because it's an amazing experience. And so
Yes.
I'm not here to like dissuade people from going.
Right.
Go be light-footed too. I mean, our parks, as many of us are seeing, our parks really need us to also be part of that park community as being stewards of the land. So we're part of that community when we set foot into our parks, our forests. I don't care if it's a county park, a city park, all of it. Even the towns we go to, I mean, I'm always talking about that. It's like, we're part of the community now. So it's our house, but we're visitors in someone's house. I wouldn't treat someone's home that way, so I always say, let's do that and be part of the community. We always say, well, learn from the locals. Well, be part of the local, tribe there, and take care of the spaces as we travel, because it's, it's cool. And I think going in the parks and having that freedom and learning about yourself, you can do it bit by bit. So maybe if you're going into the wilderness for the first time, maybe you're just going to go for a day hike and turn back until you're ready to camp and have those magical experiences, but do it bit by bit, maybe, wouldn't you say, for all of that? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Build up some experience. Don't try to do something, super big the first time. Definitely, it's a different experience if you haven't done it before. So find out if you like it first, and go with someone, if you can, go with someone who is experienced so that they can kind of show you all the different little tips and tricks and safety measures to take.
What are some good hikes for people to take in the summer that, like, it's not going to be like too hot, you got some shade, you're going to have some variety, oh gosh, you have so much. The biodiversity in Sequoia and Kings Canyon is just nuts. There's your nuts.
It's
By the way, when I
incredible.
talk about nuts, we're not talking about people in the Tulare County. We're talking about the mass amounts of almonds and pistachios and nuts that are grown there. So that's why. And so if you want trail mix, don't buy it until you get to Tulare County, because you'll get the real deal. So yeah, and bags of those pistachios. Oh my gosh, yeah. It's delicious in Tulare County. And the ice cream, I got to give a shout out to Reimers on the way out of the park. And, that's good ice cream. And also there is, oh my gosh, it went out of my head, in Tulare, the Rosa Brothers.
Oh, Rosa Brothers, yeah.
But what about Orange Works? Have either of you been to Orange Works? Because we have not done that yet.
Orange Works has a store here on Main Street in downtown Visalia that a branch from their Strathmore original store. And they do have an orange ice cream that is just delicious. It's very refreshing and feels perfect on a hot summer day.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few places that are great for some ice cream.
So that's important. That's your reward after the hike that Holly's going to tell us to take. I love telling people to take a hike.
Yeah. Yeah, so we do it. I would say for summer hikes, it's really great to be up in the forest. The Giant Forest is a nice place to hike right now. I really love hiking in Mineral King during the summer because that's when it's open, but that's a little more exposed. So taking some of those sun protection measures that we talked about before. But it is higher in elevation, so it's a little bit cooler than it is down in the foothills. But yeah, those are my two. Like Cedar Grove has some great hikes as well. It can get hot down there in the summer, but yeah.
What about Zumwalt Meadow? I've only done that in the fall.
Yeah, Zumwalt Meadow is really beautiful. It can get pretty hot, so definitely taking a hat is good.
But the waterfall access is really easy. There are a couple of waterfalls in the Kings Canyon area that are just really easy for visitors to get to. They can, without a lot of hiking effort. So Roaring Rivers and Grizzly Falls are two examples of really easy waterfalls for people to, I think, see.
And the one beginning with a T, Toccopa?
Toccopa Falls. Yeah.
Toccopa. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is that more spring one, or would you say to go in summer?
Yeah, I say like spring is the most beautiful time to see it, but it does have some shade along the way. So it's it's hard, but it's good.
And Goldie the Marmot is there to greet you.
Yeah.
He's always there. What's some of your favorite parts in the park?
Suzanne. Because the other thing is people can drive there and do, so if you get there early, you can do like Round Meadow or Big Trees Trail, I should say, right? So
what I was also going to recommend, the Sequoia shuttle that operates from Visalia up into the park, our Parks and Rec department also offers an opportunity for people to take the shuttle up and have a guided hike. They do hikes throughout the summer that continue to grow in skill so that your hiking skills by the end of the summer are improved over where you started at the beginning of the summer. And that's a great way for people that are traveling, maybe even a solo traveler who wants to have a guided hike, not be out on a trail by themselves, but it's a great way to get to know the park. So they include the riding up into the park on the shuttle up to Giant Forest, where it is, like you said, about 20 degrees cooler than it is down here on the valley floor. And they have someone who leads you on a hike. And you're with like-minded people that are also interested in getting out into the outdoors. So it's a great opportunity, I think, for people to explore the parks, but not necessarily have to do it on their own, or can join a group of hikers that are of, a similar skill set. Anyway, yeah, I think that's a really good opportunity for travelers.
that's cool. I mean, I love that where you don't have to, I want someone to drive me around. I'm tired. I want to go have a nature experience and save my energy for the hike. And then once you're in the park, there's the shuttle in there. So you are light-footed again. So that's where we can be the good steward. I mean, look how, our national parks, we were the first country to have a national park system. And I think we should be incredibly proud of that we brought the National Park Service to the rest of the world. And now we have things like UNESCO World Heritage Sites. And, you've got to think, I mean, growing up in Africa, I always thought they were the parks until I came to the States and started the national parks, going into parks here. Then I was like, that's an American thing. We think about American adventures. How American can we get than going to our national parks across the country and the monuments, the historic sites, the state parks too. I recommend people go to state parks, wildlife refuges. I know you've got some wildlife refuges in your backyard. And Allensworth, I didn't want to leave Allensworth out. Allensworth, people, you may want to go early in the morning because that is out in the sun. But Allensworth, when we talk about American history, I think this is something that the whole family should go to. When you say it's not far from Visalia, well, nothing's far from me, so I don't know, but I can't remember. It's just a little drive through, orchards. But that is really, it was an African-American community that set up their own town, right? And they had a bank, a barbershop, everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is a wonderful historical site to explore. Like you said, it's just about 30 minutes, and it's near the Pixie Wildlife Refuge as well. So you could kind of get a twofer there if you wanted to go and see the cranes or the other wildlife that are at the wildlife refuge. But visiting Colonel Allensworth is something that a lot of people should go see.
So it was a Colonel Allensworth.
Colonel Allensworth, yeah.
So that ties back to, Sequoia and Kings Canyon with Colonel, is it Brigadier
General? Brigadier General now.
Yeah,
Colonel,
Charles Young.
Charles Young.
Wow. So a lot of history there. And speaking of American history, so you've got, General Grantry, General Sherman. I know we talk about this all the time, but I just got to say, these are American treasures. You also, you've got the only natural treasure, right, dedicated to the armed forces in the country.
Yeah, the only living shrine that's dedicated to our armed forces service members who gave their lives in service to the country.
Yeah, so that's something you can see year round. But if you want to experience the opposite of summer, the dog days of summer in the parks, go in December for the annual trek to the tree, and bring your hot chocolate for this one. Take those M&Ms and put them in your cocoa.
Yeah, that's an amazing event, and especially families with veterans should make that trek. And the one in December is a really wonderful wreath laying that is done regardless of the weather, right, Holly? They lay that wreath at the base of the tree, commemorating is not the right word, but honoring the men and women of the armed services. It's a wonderful event.
Yeah.
Second Sunday of December.
Every year. You brought up families, and this is a really good question. Families coming up into the parks, as I know it, pets is a no-no, but maybe in the forest, and that's a whole other deal with this. Go to the forest website, but don't bring your dogs and your cats to the parks, right? I mean, so serious. I know people have cats in their RV, so I'm not joking.
Yeah, it is. The parks aren't very pet friendly, so pets are only allowed in some areas of the parks, like paved areas.
Okay, so there is an openness there. Okay.
Yeah, so and all of the regulations can be found on our website. So there are places where they can go, just not the trails. So that's, and then, so, which can be complicated. So like if you're camping, sure, as long as someone's also going to be with your pet, because it does get hot, and please don't leave your pets in a vehicle.
I had to call the cops on someone leaving a cat in their vehicle in over 80-degree weather before I broke it open. I didn't break it open. I was a good citizen. But I wanted to go back to, because of for families hiking, are there specific trails that you would recommend for parents with, small kids? Because, big trek, some kids get used to it really early, get on, parents' shoulders and, okay, but you've got to be prepared for it. So what would you say, like, for a first family adventure into a national park would be, like, I would personally choose Big Trees Trail and maybe Crescent Meadow.
Big Trees Trail, yeah. Absolutely. Big Trees Trail, Crescent Meadow. Those are both really great hikes to bring little ones on because they're fairly flat and you can just turn around at any point if they don't feel like they want to keep going, but you're still seeing these beautiful sequoias up really close. It's the Big Trees Trail is a very short loop, so that's nice. There's an easy walk from there up to the Giant Forest Museum. So that's like, okay, we can do a little hike and then maybe go up to the museum and look at some of that. And then there's also like the Hazelwood Loop is kind of in that same area. So there's a lot of little trails kind of nearby in the forest that I would recommend because they have that shade coverage. Quickly you can get to like the markets or the museum. If you need an extra snack, they're getting a little crabby, you can take care of that pretty easily and then just test out their hiking legs in a pretty easily accessible location.
That's very cool. And then Suzanne, getting into Tulare County itself, we're talking about be careful with the water, but then you do have some waterways that people can enjoy throughout Tulare County, right? Some lakes and that kind of experience.
Yeah. So, both the Lake Success and Cahuilla Lakes outside of the National Forest, for Lake Success down by Porterville and Lake Cahuilla on the way into Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Park are both great opportunities for water play. You can rent kayaks or family patio boats where you can get out on the lake and really cool off. It's a really fun adventure. Maybe you go into the national parks on one day and then you have a kind of a chill day the next where you have a patio boat out on the lake. So mom and dad can just relax. You have a cooler full of food and drinks and the kids can, play and fish and have a nice time. Obviously, keeping in mind water safety. But yeah, that's a great opportunity to cool off.
Yeah. And then you have a splash pad.
Yeah. So Sequoia Springs splash water slides at the Adventure Park here in Visalia is another fun place. Ooh. What's great about it is there's no standing water. So the risk of danger is low. Parents can rent one of the cabanas that surround it and watch their kids play. And there's 4 different slides. There's a 900-gallon bucket that dumps water every so often, and the kids love to stand underneath that. There's lots of little sprays and all sorts of stuff. It's a really fun place to have some family time. You can miniature golf. There's little bumper boats, so you can, another little place to get out on the water, or go inside and play the video games. And there's a family racetrack where you have the little race cars that you can go around on. So that's a lot of fun as well.
I want to go. I'm like, right now, as you're talking about this, I'm like, wait a minute, bumper boats, cars. All right. Miniature golf.
I'll take you on a round of miniature golf. I'll take you on.
Really? Oh, let's go. Yes, I'm serious. I will get down on it, man. I'm serious. But there's no way I don't know if you've tried to play golf, but that's a no-no. That's a serious not happening for me. Apparently I turn into a flamingo with my legs. I can't explain it, but there's a video out there. Google on YouTube, Lisa's first video, golf lesson. Yeah, it's out there. It's embarrassing, but I'll do miniature golf. You and Holly, miniature golf?
It's a miniature golf, yeah.
All right. I bet you they have
ice cream in there about it. Yeah, I'm not really competitive with it, I'll say, but I'll do it.
And then she'll beat us and we'll be really mad. But I love these different park experience, and the county parks themselves are, city parks throughout Tulare County are gorgeous.
The county has really spent a lot of time and money recently in upgrading some of the parks, adding some new parks. Of course, Mooney Grove, California's first county park, is a wonderful place for people to explore with the arbors that they have. They've restored the arbors. It has a big lagoon. There's an inclusive play area there that's wonderful. So anyone can go and play in there. And that's a really wonderful opportunity for, families to just really play like kids. They have the museum at Mooney Grove. There's lots of outdoor art there. They've recently completed a lot of murals on some of the buildings around the park. So lots to explore there. You could take your kids on a scavenger hunt and find the log cabin and find the different murals that are around and find the statue of Hugh Mooney and even see the end of the trail statue. So lots of great art opportunities at Mooney Grove. But there's lots of community parks too that are a great break for families that are on vacation. If you've been driving in a car for a while, kids just sometimes need to get out and run and play and just relax. So lots of opportunities there. I love the trail that follows along the St. Johns River. It has water in it seasonally because they use the water for agriculture ultimately, but the trail follows along the river and dips underneath all of the roadways. So there's never any crossing of busy streets and that sort of thing. So you can go for, I don't know, 6 miles or something like that without ever having to encounter any traffic. And I think that's a really wonderful thing. So you can grab a bike and do that. You can go to Cutler Park, which is a oak. It's similar to Mooney Grove, where it's a lot of oak trees and it sits right along the river there, and go all the way to the sports park. So it's a great opportunity for families to just be outside and relax, especially in the cool mornings.
Well, one of the places that, let's go look at some of the towns. Exeter, when we talk about public art, Exeter just rocks and rolls with amazing murals. And I know that they started to do some sculptures as well as part of their art tour. I mean, you can take a whole tour, guided tour sometimes if you call in advance. But, they've got beautiful parks, and a lot of their parks have the murals in them. And so that's what I've kind of noticed is like, I know Tulare's got this amazing park with water fountains and the most important thing, ducks. I'm sorry. No parks are complete without ducks. So a lot of shade. I know Porterville's getting new parks, right?
They've got some new parks there. Yeah, so it's a great opportunity to get to know locals as well. You were mentioning Tulare having their new redone park. It's now an amphitheater.
The Zoom Hall.
And so there are lots of acts lined up to perform there. And there's nothing better than watching a music band, whatever it is, outdoors and just having a relaxed, fun summer night. So
I know Exeter does that. Do you do that in Visalia? Oh, that's cool. I know Porterville, we went to a couple concerts years ago. And I think it's a Centennial Park. What's great about that is Porterville has this wonderful mural that's double-sided that shows the history of their marching band. And their marching bands have toured. I think it's over 150 years that these marching bands, I may be wrong, but it's a big number, have been going all over the country, like the Rose Bowl parade, all of that, and then around the world. And they have a big gazebo, and I had friends that were actually performing there. And you see all generations come out and kids dancing. Sometimes the parents or the grandparents are dancing. And it's just like so nice to be in a real downtown atmosphere with that and just relax and get a sandwich and just enjoy the music and the art.
Well, and I always kind of crack up about the word downtown because I think of, if you've grown up in a large city like Los Angeles, for example, you think of downtown and skyscrapers, and that's not what's happening here. The downtowns here are really the where the towns began. So that's usually where the historic buildings are, and where you have the center of, shopping and restaurants. So it has a different feel than say a large city downtown. It has you have a chance to slow down and just really stroll around and visit some of the shops and visit with some of the locals and find some good food.
Yeah, and food goes with the arts. So the art part, like murals are everywhere. I know Porterville's got some new ones. Exeter, of course, and also Tulare is really good at the murals that they've got new ones too. But I wanted to mention Woodlake for people as it's a botanical garden. It's free to go in.
Gosh, yeah.
And go in the mornings if you can. And if you miss gardening, I love gardening, but so if you wanted to help them, Olga and Manuel would probably let you garden with them. But it's also at Bravo Lake, right? So you can get some. I've watched herons and egrets and all kinds of birds out there. So that's a nice area to go.
Yeah, the Woodlake Botanical Garden is really just a gem in the area. They have, as you mentioned, Olga and Manuel really invested a lot of time and expertise in cultivating that area. And so what I love about it is that, they encourage you to try some of the things that they're growing there. So if there is a citrus tree, you can try one of their oranges, or you can try one of the tangerines. Or when I was out there just a couple of months ago or weeks ago, I guess, really, they have artichokes. They have all sorts of things that are growing there. It's really amazing. I have 2 black thumbs, so I can't really grow anything, but I love to see all of the roses that are in bloom. And they have a little Peter Rabbit garden. Really just such a fun place to explore. And if If they're there, they would love to talk with you about what they have there and showcasing some of the things that are in season. It's a really good, like a kind of a living museum, I guess, of what really this area is all about, the agriculture that we can grow here, and all of the different products that we ship worldwide are on display here at this botanical garden. So
I think it is an art. You know, when we talk about the arts, I'm like, nature, number one, is like, you know, she's the queen of art. Like, you look at these giant trees and, you know, the way pine cones are, you look at pine cones and you need little bitty ones for sequoia trees and you're like, huh? How did that come out? All the symmetry. When you start looking at botany, like I geek out on, I'm weird, and mushrooms and stuff, you're like, how was this created? Like, this is insane. No, and then you go to Crystal Cave and you see the stalagmites and stalactites. I said it. I stole it. I stole it from you. But it's amazing. So we look at the arts. I think you've got all these beautiful natural scapes and then these gardens. And then you've got all the public art, which is sculptures and murals. What about galleries too? You know, that's another thing is galleries. You've got theaters like the Fox Theater in Visalia. You've got movie complexes like the Galaxy in Tulare. I mean, that's the other part is the arts are alive. And I think the Fox Theater to me is still, I talk about it on other shows with theater people because I'm always like, the inside is like you're being transported to India or Egypt. Like there's this old school theater in there.
There's sort of a Southeast Asian design inside with pagodas, and there's a genie over the stage and elephants. There's over 200 elephant images, I guess, throughout the theater, especially in the lobby along the wood beams. So it's a really beautiful piece, and the amount of time and effort that went into creating the interior of that theater is just amazing. And, you know, there's elements of nature there, but also, for example, the downtown post office here in Visalia, that building was built in the 1930s, and there's lots of elements of nature there that reflect the nearby national parks and forests. So, you know, in the friezes above the windows and the doors, if you look carefully, and at the bronze lighting fixtures that are just outside the front doors, if you look carefully, you can see all these little elements of nature there. So our new St. Charles Borromeo Church, they used for their tabernacle, they used wood from a bridge in Yosemite that was 250-year-old bridge that had to be removed. They used that wood to create the
oh, wow.
The tabernacle. And in the ceiling murals, there are depictions of sequoia cones too in the tree. So there's lots of elements, a lot of artistic elements that reflect the nearby nature. And I find that really fun.
Now, speaking of sequoia cones, they're also used in fashion, right, Holly? Don't you have like hat fashion for park rangers with the sequoia cone on it? Isn't that?
Yeah, about like on our hat strap.
Even the Park Service logo, doesn't it have it? There's the sequoia.
Logo. Yeah, we've got a sequoia tree.
Yep. Okay.
Whoops,
there you go. That's the sequoia. See? Yep. Check, like, hello, like being at the beginning. Talk about, iconic, man.
We were the second national park.
So there.
Yeah.
Take that. There it is. That's it. Now, the other thing too, Three Rivers, I didn't want to leave them out because that is an full-on art community. And every first Saturday, you can go in the town, pick up a map of where you can see artists doing demonstrations throughout, like at the Gateway Lodge. And, you know, they've got all kinds of restaurants and shops that you can, I love that. I love First Saturday.
Yeah. A lot of our communities have either a First Friday. Visalia has a First Friday. There's First Saturday up in Three Rivers. They have a wonderful museum there in Three Rivers that also has Native voices. So if you want to learn a little bit more about the indigenous people, the Native peoples in this area, it's a wonderful exhibit they did in conjunction with Jennifer Malone, who is very much an advocate for the Wukchumni people. And you can go there and see some great things. The Hospital Rock in Sequoia has some great exhibits on the Native peoples in there. So there's lots to explore. That's in a museum sort of format that is wonderful to learn.
The other thing is Paul Bunyan is standing guard over the museum, and he was used out of fallen tree, I believe, that he was sculptured out of. And that leads me to in Visalia, I remember visiting the old sequoia tree that you had as an icon for people to meet the sequoia tree if they couldn't get up into the park. And sadly, he wanted to go back to his family. He's like, you can't leave me alone. I want my family up in the hills in the Sierra Nevadas. But so he has been removed, right? So
Yeah,
What is
so we had-
happening with that tree? Yeah.
Yeah, so we had the Sequoia legacy tree, what came as a sapling nearly 100 years ago from up in the mountains and was planted on the west side of our downtown post office. And it lived here, fairly happily for about 100 years before it succumbed to a fungus and the tree was removed. But we're really anxious to replace the tree with another art installation, and we're putting out an RFP now for artists that have some great ideas that can marry the relationship that Visalia has with our national park neighbors and highlight some of the history there. So I'll share the RFP with you, Lisa. You can put that on your website for visitors that have an artistic, creative, whatever.
It could be a muralist or a sculpture or any of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's an outdoor art installation. It is on a piece of land that's a little less than 4,000 square feet. There currently is a gravel path in the center ring, in the center of this little parklet that is the size of General Sherman, but we're not limiting any of our artists' ideas. They're welcome to submit whatever they think would be a good fit for the RFP requirements. So it'll be a wonderful new art exhibit here in Visalia, and we're really looking forward to the creativity of people from across the United States on what that might look like.
That's awesome. I love that. And so everyone, I'll put that link in the episode notes. So no matter where you're listening, Spotify, YouTube, Podbean, Apple, look in the show notes and that link will be there, and check that out, because I think that's such a great opportunity to be part of. I mean, for an artist, that would be an honor to represent.
It would be, yes, absolutely. And, with Sequoia being the second national park, and Visalia feels a very close relationship with that park. And so we really want to continue to, showcase that friendship that we have. So artists, take note, take a look for that RFP. And if you think you have a great idea, we'd love to see your submission.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you both so much. Oh, before we go, I know Holly will get mad if I don't bring up what's coming up in September in the park. This is a big deal. See, we're going to talk about sky art.
Yes. Okay. So this is like one of the most exciting times of the year, I think, is when we have the Dark Sky Festival. And that's put on by our official park partner, Sequoia Parks Conservancy. And they've chosen the dates, September 12th through 14th. So definitely everybody check out Sequoia Parks Conservancy website to learn more about what they're going to have. I know that there's a pre-event down in Visalia. I think at the Fox Theater, they're going to have something, but it's a really cool time to come up into the park, bring your kiddos. Usually they have like a bunch of astronomers and telescopes, and they just put on a really neat event where everyone can learn about what they're looking at. And, in the parks, it's a perfect place to look at the sky. Dark skies are so important. And so this is a really great event. And usually there's cool art associated with it. Usually someone designs like a cool t-shirt or something like that.
Cool.
And there's events that happen during the day as well, just to be clear that there are some events that happen during the day as well as at night. If you're not a night owl, you might learn some things during the day as well. So really great event. I'm really looking forward to it, Holly.
I highly recommend people become night owls and go check out the owls. The Parks After Dark's a whole other experience that must be had. And in summer, how cool is it? You can go on a night hike. I know that rangers and SequoiaParksConservancy.org is the website, everyone, for tickets to Crystal Cave. They have amazing excursions into the park as well. So check that out. Of course, there's park ranger programs as well. So again, nps.gov/SEKI is the website. Visit Visalia.com to go to Visalia. Discover the Sequoia is the main one for everybody, and all of that is linked in the episode notes. Happy American Adventures Month, everyone. Go to Tulare County and discover those parks and all those amazing art opportunities. Thank you, ladies.
Yeah, thank you, Lisa.
Thanks, Lisa. Appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us here on Big Blend Radio's California Sequoia Country show. New episodes air every first Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific time. You can keep up with the show at bigblendradio.com, but also plan your Tulare County escape. Go to discoverthesequoias.com.